This video is part of our multi-series set dealing with resolving a foreclosure case and the various options that are available to consumers to resolve the foreclosure case. As we go through each one of these video series, we're going to explore some of the different ways that consumers can resolve the case and give you a little bit of the information on each one of them. Now, we'll deal with foreclosures and litigation. We'll deal with resolving a case prior to foreclosure. We'll deal with short sales, modifications, and deeds in lieu as a means of resolving cases. Now, this is part of a multi-video set. This first one here exploring all those basic topics and focusing specifically on short sales. Now, I wanted to focus on short sales as a means to resolve a foreclosure case because it's one of the more popular by volume ways in which a consumer seeks to resolve a foreclosure case. The biggest problem that I have is that too many consumers resolve the case in foreclosure without relying on proper advice from an attorney. Now, far too often consumers, when they're faced with a foreclosure case, might deal with a realtor, and even if we've got some very good realtors out there that do good work for consumers, those realtors don't provide the proper advice that a consumer needs. Now, no realtor should ever be involved in handing out legal advice, but quite frankly, far too often we find realtors who are engaged in telling consumers information about a foreclosure case that they're quite frankly not authorized to provide. It's a violation of law, but they get away with it all the time. Particularly in the context of foreclosures, one of the things that I find disturbing is that realtors will aggressively solicit consumers that are in foreclosure and then not give them the proper advice, that is to go out and retain an actual foreclosure defense attorney that knows what they're doing. Carrying that problem along, what we'll find is that a realtor who will get together with a consumer and convince them to do a short sale won't provide that consumer with the real advice and the warnings that they need to understand about short sales. Let's understand who benefits from a short sale. Well, in most cases, the only parties that really benefit from a short sale are the realtor and the bank, and here's why. The Mortgage Debt Relief Forgiveness Act expired in 2013, and as a result, a consumer that lets a short sale go through is oftentimes faced with a great liability, and that liability is not just the deficiency judgment, but now the tax liability. It's that tax liability that's part of a short sale transaction that's frankly far more significant than the liability for the short sale deficiency with the bank. Now, what realtors and other parties will tell you often is, don't worry about a deficiency because the banks never pursue those things anyway. And while that's certainly the case in many instances, you as the consumer can't rely on that. Now, even when we have a proper short sale contract with the proper addendums filled out and with the proper language in there waiving the right of the bank to collect a deficiency judgment, what those consumer contracts don't provide is any advice or guidance or waivers about the 1099-C tax liability associated with the short sale transaction. So what the consumer needs is proper legal advice, and that starts with a lawyer, but quite frankly, that also involves an accountant. Just like I don't practice accounting law, I refer all those cases to accountants that can provide proper accounting advice. Now, we'll get a little bit more into the substance of those transactions later, but the warning here in this video is just that. All short sale transactions should come with very broad and dramatic warnings to consumers to do not engage in that short sale transaction unless you have the proper advice of an attorney that can review and make sure that you are disclaimed from all liability associated with that transaction. And quite frankly, just not enough consumers are getting that in the context of the typical short sale transaction.